So this is Castle Bekov in the little city of Bekov. Bekov Castle is situated on a cliff near the river and was used as a strategic outpost in Great Moravia. A stone castle was built there to protect the borders of the Kingdom of Hungary, probably in the middle of the 13th century. The castle became the property of Matthew III Cossack at the turn of the 13th and 14th century and was fortified under his rule. When he died in 1321, the castle was administered by Castilians. Louis I of Hungary gave the castle to Miklos Banfi in 1379 as a reward for his service in the battles of the Balkans and Italy. In 1388, the castle was given by Sigismund, King of Hungary, to Stibor of Stiboritz, of the clan of Ostoja, a lord of Polish origin. So these are the weapons of war. These used to sling big rocks for 150 meters. Stibor was one of the king's most influential advisors and in control of significant parts of northern Hungary. Of 31 castles that was in the possession of Stibor, he chose Bekov as his home, giving the castle special care. So this is the palace. There's a lot of the original stones used to build this castle. He rebuilt the castle into his family seat in the Gothic style. Artists from Venetia, Poland, Hungary, Bohemia all worked to make Bekov an outstanding place. So one of the palace rooms, what's left of it. Must have been a river or a road that was important to protect. So this is the northern palace. Looks a little more elaborate than the first palace we saw. Stibor also built a chapel with splendid sculpture decorations and paintings, including the sculpture of the Black Madonna, which was considered as one of the most beautiful in Europe at the time. In the entrance to the chapel, there was a family coat of arms made of stone. After Stibor's death in 1414, the castle was inherited by his son, Stibor Stiborik of Bekov. So this is the water tank where they stored water. This was the service building. This is the fortifications. But because Stiborik of Bekov did not have a son, he gave the property to his daughter, Katrina. The Banfi family rebuilt the castle into a Renaissance fortress and a noble seat. The castle was successful against an attack by the Tartars in 1599. The Banfi family owned the castle until 1646. Bekov Castle was gradually turned into a prison, and then into a barracks. And then in 1729, a fire destroyed the interior and the roofs of the castle, and it turned into ruins. So here's our next castle. And here is castle. This castle is famous throughout Slovakia for one of its owners, Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who lived here between 1560 and 1614. She has been labeled by the Guinness World Book of Records as the most prolific female murderer. Bathory and 4 collaborators were accused of torturing and killing hundreds of young women in this castle. The highest number of victims is estimated at 650. Despite the evidence against Elizabeth, her family's influence kept her from facing trial. She was imprisoned in 1609, held in solitary confinement in a room with no windows, where she remained until her death 5 years later. The story of her serial murders and brutality are verified by the testimonies of more than 300 witnesses and survivors, as well as physical evidence and the presence of horribly mutilated dead, dying, and imprisoned girls found at the time of her arrest. Stories say that she liked bathing in the blood of virgins to retain her youth. Her story quickly became part of national folklore, and her infamy persists to this day. She is known as the Blood Countess and Countess Dracula. This is a very narrow road for 2 cars.
It is wide as
Wider
trail. You cannot see anybody.
So we're stopping off in this little town for something to eat. So we're in this Slovakian restaurant and no one speaks English. So we just pointed to what people were having at other tables and we're getting soup. That's good. And it comes with bread. We're looking for Harad Dobra Voda. Up ahead, maybe. And after walking maybe 20 minutes through the forest, here it is. It's called Dobra Voda. The castle was built as a watchman's fortress, probably in the 13th century. This looks like a real ruin. Doesn't look like there's been any attempt to restore this. So this is what the place used to look like. Pretty big. Right in the middle of a forest, too. From 1436, the castle was the property of the Orzgast family. And after their line died out, the hill fort became the property of an important family called the Erdedy. By the end of the 17th century, the Erdedy family occupied many majestic manor houses and palaces in the towns, so the castle began to deteriorate. Also, the anti-Habsburg uprising at the beginning of the 18th century contributed to its decay. Nice cool breeze. Its destruction was completed in 1762 by a lightning fire. At the end of the 18th century, the partially reconstructed castle served as an accommodation. Later, it became a prison. The walls and remains of the castle palace, towers, chapel, and fortifications have been overgrown by trees and bushes. So quiet up here. Bratislava. Okay, so we're at the Color Hotel in Bratislava, We just got in after visiting a bunch of castles today. And it's raining outside and we're tired. So we are going to eat here at the restaurant at the Color Hotel.
So,
And I have risotto and Dim has pork.